So this is a video I really didn't want to have to record because, yeah, it's quite negative and I'm a positive person. But I just personally think the UK is finished, is going broke, and there's a financial crash looming on the horizon as the UK teeters a financial tightrope and could fall off at any moment. Any big calamity could send the UK economy absolutely tumbling into the depths of despair. So I'm going to talk a bit about why I think about that. I'm also going to try and give some solutions for people to try and protect what they have, and try and make some money out of this. I know that sounds horrible. You never want to make money out of anything like this, but at the end of the day, we've all got to try and survive. So I'm going to try and give some solutions as well, and also focus of honesty and transparency. I'm not a financial expert, I'm not an economist, I'm just a normal guy. But what I think I'm really good at is I'm good at research, I'm good at listening, and I've got a really strong. And ever since COVID, the UK has really gone downhill. How do I know? Because I live here, and it is not a nice place to be financially at the moment because it's just so expensive. So let's get into it. So, in my opinion, unfortunately, the UK is run by a complete bunch of incompetent fools. Rachel Reeves has just clearly lost control of public spending, and she's probably going to have to raise taxes again in the autumn. Let's just run through some numbers. So the UK government currently owes $530 billion to the Bank of England. Past 12 months alone, borrowing hit $152 billion over the past 12 months, which is insane. We can't afford that. And a large part of that is due to Ed Miliband's green energy spending more than what he was meant to. And let me just talk a little bit about this. So I think all of this net zero stuff is a load of hogwash. I don't believe it. It's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. I mean, the whole climate crisis is, it smells very fishy to me. Let's put it that way. And here's something that's really interesting that I think is really important to ponder. So I'm going a little bit off track here, but it's all connected. So basically, the UK government said they want to basically geoengineer our skies in some research projects. They want to try and dim the sun to basically save the UK from tipping into a climate crisis and overheating, which clearly we are. We're not. And let me tell you a secret. They've been geoengineering the skies for decades. But anyway, the government have to say this now because so many people are cottoning on to the fact that there's something wrong with the skies. So they're bringing it into the open, which they always do once the people catch on. But here's the interesting thing. So we're going to dim the skies, but our landscape by 2030 is going to be covered in solar panels. So we're going to have less energy for the sun powering. So there's less energy going into the solar panels, which means less electricity. That sounds like a recipe for disaster. And we're paying God knows how many billions for all of this to go across, and also you're going to be blighting our landscape with all these things. Can you just see the irony here? We're spending all of this money on green energy and it's not going to work. I tell you, there's going to be blackouts, chaos, and the whole rest of it. It's insane. But the point of it is we're spending all of this money on that, on the green energy bill that's overspending. We're spraying the skies, which is going to be taxpayers picking that up. $500 million is going into geoengineering projects that we don't need. So it's just basically lunacy. Obviously we've got high costs for asylum seekers because we've got a really bad migrant crisis, so taxpayers picking that up, so that's shoving the public bill up more. Businesses are leaving the UK due to high taxes, 25% corporation tax, so big businesses are leaving. We've got some of the highest corporation tax in the world. Obviously, if big businesses are leaving, there's less tax revenues for the Treasury to basically pay back the debt and put back into the public arena, which obviously isn't good. So she's going to have to hike up taxes elsewhere. God knows where that's going to be, but I'm sure we'll hear about that in the autumn. The UK economy is stagnant. Obviously, if big businesses are leaving, which they are, because it's not a friendly place to be an entrepreneur anymore due to high taxes. So the GDP, obviously we've got less businesses, producing revenue and paying taxes. That means GDP is going to go down, which means it's going to be harder to pay off the debt to the Bank of England. And long and short of it is the UK is effectively broke. And there's loads of other reasons, but obviously another thing that's really interesting as well. A lot of it I've heard, and it doesn't surprise me that a lot of the banks are closing branches. A lot of the banks are debt ridden as well, and here's another thing as well: the pound, that pretty much all currencies, but definitely the pound. It basically, the pound holds no value really. The pound is just like an IOU from the Bank of England, so it doesn't have any value. I mean, in the years gone past, it was backed by gold. A pound actually held real value because it was backed by gold, but now it's not backed by anything. We can just print as much money as we want. Our currency is nothing more than an IOU, so it's pretty much worthless really. It's nothing more than a piece of paper, or if you look at your bank account, it's nothing more than just numbers, and the numbers you see there is nothing more than an IOU from the bank to you. So the currency is pretty much garbage as well. And another thing that's really interesting as well, sorry I'm waffling on a bit here, but I think this is all really important for people watching this to hear. So the elites of the world, and we're talking like the World Economic Forum, BlackRock and the likes, which basically are giving orders to our governments, whether you believe that or not. I do. I've seen so much evidence for it, to basically push Agenda 2030, but also the big agenda that's going to be coming on everyone's radar very quickly, especially Europe, because they're already rolling it out. It's digital currencies. So these digital currencies are coming to you within the next couple of years. I know Europe's already rolling out a digital euro, and I think the digital pound is going to be rolled out in 2027. So I hear. In my opinion, I'm now going a bit off track here, but I'll bring it all back round. But basically, these digital currencies are going to be linked to a digital ID and carbon credit. So basically, and the central banks of the countries will control them. They're fully programmable, and what that basically means is that the government can control your money. So if you go on too many holidays, they can freeze your account, take money out of your account. They control your money. They see everything going in, they can take it out, which is not good. So basically financial freedom will be over. And obviously all of this stuff will be linked to, because we'll all be driving electric cars in the future by 2030. And I think all of this will be connected through AI. So for all of this, you'll only be allowed to drive a certain distance from your home or city, so we can keep all, net zero, which is just a load of garbage. But anyway, the point is that all of this stuff coming on the horizon is not good. And how might the banking crash happen, or the financial crash happen in the UK? Well, no one really knows. I'm not an expert, but there'll be a big catalyst. It'll either be a couple of banks going bust, could be another pandemic, or a big escalation in war. Those are the kind of big three to basically which could send the UK into a spiral. And obviously when it happens, I mean, who knows how bad a crash would be, but if all the banks go bust, currency dips, house and share prices crash, and people's money in their bank account dries up. Here's another interesting thing as well. In order to, if people are in dire straits, have got no money because of a crash, it could be bigger than anything we've ever seen, they'll roll out universal credit. And basically universal credit, in order to get it, you'll have to adopt the digital pound. They'll basically say, we'll give you £2,000 a month to live but you have to use the digital pound, and basically once you go into that system, you're never coming out. You're dependent on the government, and yeah, that's it. So basically, none of this is good, and even if there is a crash and people are destitute, the solution isn't good because it just gives the government more control. So I'm waffling on a bit, but what can we do about this? So with all of that said, I think we're going to see market volatility for the rest of the year. I think with all the tariff stuff going on and the trade war between Europe and the US and everything else just means market uncertainty. With all the wars raging on still, I think a lot of uncertainty. So how can we make some money from this? So I think one of the best ways to trade a volatile market is using options trading. I've been trading options on and off for a couple of years, and basically through options, it's a strategy that allows you to profit from shares going up or going down. So it's perfect for these crazy conditions. So that's one way people can play the crazy market conditions at the moment. If you want to learn more about that, I'll link to a presentation below from master trader Larry Benedict. He did a presentation called Tariff Trades, how to basically trade the crazy market volatility using options. Or if you want to go a step further, I subscribe to a financial advisory called One Ticker Trader, which Larry's owned by Larry Benedict, master trader, and he puts out multiple options trades every month that you can follow to basically follow the trades that he does, so you can basically profit from all of this crazy uncertainty. So I'll link to One Ticker Trader and the presentation down below in the comment and description. So that's short term what we can do. I think long term, and this isn't financial. I don't offer financial advice or investment advice, but I'm just trying to give people ideas here of how they can protect themselves should the worst happen. So I think a good hedge against any financial crash is gold. Basically, with all of the wars going on, money's been playing into gold from the elites because gold is really one of the few valuable assets that we have. Gold will never lose its value. Gold has always been valuable and always will. Or in times of rough, money flows into gold. So gold will always be a good store of value. So I think putting money into gold is not a bad idea. And I think the other thing as well is people, in my opinion, people should not adopt the digital currency when it is presented to us, or any other solution if there's a financial crisis, because I think once the digital currency comes in, cash is gone, things are going to be turning pretty bleak in the UK. That's all I'm going to basically say on that. So I think people need to really keep cash going. We need to keep the current financial system. Of course, it can be improved, but I think people really need to oppose the digital currency coming in. So yeah, those are basically, that is what I've got for you. I mean, I don't know when the financial crash is going to come, but I just know, I can't say with certainty, but I think with the UK economy at the moment, I think there's going to be a big financial crash, certainly in the next couple of years. Could be sooner, could be sort of approaching 2030. And I think when it does happen, and if it's a really bad one, they'll probably roll in the digital currencies to basically completely change our financial system. So there we go. That is why I think the UK is broke, finished, and is heading for a crash. Remember, there are solutions. Trading the volatility, may as well try and make some money off it. Gold, silver, opposing digital currencies coming in, and keeping cash. I mean, all of these things can basically try and keep the UK from really slipping into disaster. Anyway, if you got value from this video, want to like, want to subscribe, got a comment down below, please comment. Also, I'm going to link to the presentation for how to trade volatile markets and One Ticker Trader down below if you want to, get sort of trades from Larry. Link in the comment description below. Thanks for joining me, everyone, and I'll speak to you soon.